You're listening to Satellite Sisters.
What's a satellite sister?
The person you call when the best thing in your life happens or the worst.
The person that gets you up, gets you going, and gets you through.
And every once in a while, changes your mind.
This podcast is part pep talk, part weekly check-in.
Like grabbing coffee with a friend.
Thanks for being here. Welcome to the Satellite Sisterhood.
Hey, you're listening to Satellite Sisters Remix. Thanks for being here today. I'm Leanne Dolan in Pasadena, California. I'm here with my sister, Julie Dolan in Dallas, Texas. Hey,
Hi.
Julie, how you doing?
Hi, Leanne. How are you?
I know we haven't talked that much lately.
I know. I mean, we still, we sort of stopped production in December, and then we quit talking to each other. Okay? That's not
fair.
right, sister.
That's not fair. I mean, I've been head down trying to get this book done.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Our usual chat time is mornings, and I've been
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah. No, we have. For listeners, we have been chatting. But I missed you, Leanne. I missed you. I know you. I
missed you.
just got to hurry up and finish that book. So,
all right.
Okay.
There's good news on that front. More on that later. All right, but we are here with another remix episode. We put together a Valentine's themed show. Now, Jill, the irony with Satellite Sisters is we did almost nothing about sex, dating, love, or relationships on our show.
Yes. I think that was one of our underlying missions, part of our goal. I think we said that in the Mudbat. I am never talking about sex, no matter what.
So we really had to search far and wide for segments that fit under the Valentine's Day theme. But I think we put together a fun show. But first, what's on your mind? What have you been thinking about lately?
Leanne, well, here's what I'm thinking about. Do you realize that this year, Ash Wednesday and Valentine's Day are the same year? Okay, same day. So I just want you to just imagine you're in your sexy teddy and then you've got ashes on your head. That is going to be a tough look. And then add to that, Leanne, it's the Lunar New Year. So you got to do something with the dragon. Okay, so you got ashes, a teddy, and a dragon, Leanne.
That's quite a look for you, Julie.
I don't know, Leanne. I don't know. It's going to be a combo. I want to wish all our satellite sisters good luck with that. Okay.
And misters, because it's such
and misters too. Satellite misters. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a challenge for them. All right. Thanks for that reminders on all fronts. Thanks, friends. Thanks, Jewel. Hey, have you been watching it all? CNN has this documentary on Martha Stewart. I think it's all aired now, but you can find it on their streaming service, a 3-part series on like the true story of Martha Stewart or the real life of Martha Stewart.
Yes.
Have you been watching it?
Think? Yes. What do you think, Liam?
Here's the thing. We have a weird fascination with Martha Stewart, but I think if you're not familiar, listeners need to know we literally grew up around like the corner from her. She was the local mom / caterer that made good. And at many points in our teenage years and early 20s, our lives intersected with hers. People worked for her. She catered events. My mother worked with her on a big charity event. I took ballet with her daughter. So the fascination goes deep. And I did enjoy many of the really early day visuals, like the the Laura Ashley dresses. I mean, I think it's important for people to know that Martha's had many lives. Oh, that's what it's called. The Many Lives of Martha Stewart. Here's what I would say here. So Martha, we know she's 80, 81. What I find fascinating and continue to find fascinating is that she has not gone away. You know what I mean? I mean, one of the biggest complaints about women over a certain age, and that age is like 50, is that they, quote, disappear in people's eyes, right? That no one's interested in their lives anymore. She, like Madonna, she has just refused to go away. Madonna always says, the greatest sin of my music career is not quitting. And I do think Martha Stewart is the same. She keeps reinventing herself because, as we know, she has many, many interests now that we many interests, and she can. So I admire that spirit that she refuses to go away.
Leanne, I think that's an excellent point. I mean, I think Martha is part of our DNA. That's what I said. We grew up with her, but you're right. I mean, that she just continues on with her brand and herself, and I'm all for it, Leanne. So, whether this documentary, she didn't participate in this documentary,
Right.
but it's always good to check in on Martha. We wish her well. I had a little period where I wanted her to go to jail because I felt like she had broken the law. But she did her time. She came out in the poncho. She's good to go, Lance.
Yeah, right.
And here she is, just continuing on. So good for her and good for Martha. And let's embrace Martha. That's
right.
Mm-hmm.
It's not too late. It's not too late to get on the Martha bandwagon. All right. In this show, what do we have here? Well, in our quest for sex and dating and romance, we have a few key things. First of all, we have always, another thing that's part of our DNA is the wedding announcements in the New York Times. So we have a good segment. It's like a series of 6 wedding announcements that we love. So that's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. Very positive. We have a review of Sex in the City, the movie, the first movie.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. By our wonderful sister, Sheila, who did Entertaining Sisters. And there's really no one more qualified to give a review of Sex in the City than Sheila, don't you think?
It is. I mean, first of all, her movie reviews, if you're not familiar with them, they're about 1/3 movie, 2/3 Sheila. So I think that's important to know. And she does she goes around the horn for her opinions on the movie. And it's a little time capsule because this was the first movie and now there have been 3 and they were increasingly bad. And then there was the weird remake TV show.
Oh, yes.
We cringe watch. But this was sort of a fresh look at the Sex and the City movie. And it's very funny. And she has a lot of pinpointed things to say about the women and Big and New York City. So it's fun to hear that. There is a little, I need to explain one thing though. At the end of that, she teases her own Sex and the City type show. That became the Summer of Love. She did an internet dating show with Brad Garrett. Okay, this is going way back. Do you remember that?
I mean, how is that possible? That was something. So yes. So Summer of Love, Sheila, and Brad Garrett.
Oh. So if you're listening to this, that's what I want to explain. That's what she's teasing. So I'll try to dig up information on that whole thing for later remixes. Also, Julie, we have an interview with Calvin Trillin, the great New Yorker writer who wrote an absolutely beautiful book about his wife, Alice, who was a frequent, character in his stories in the New York Times, in the New Yorker, and she had just died. And he wrote this book about his wife, Alice. And this interview really almost brought cheers and chills to me because it was great to have him in studio listening to him talk about his lovely wife. He was so charming.
I mean, what a love story, what a marriage. I mean, real insight there. Leanne, I think I'm going to go back and I'm not sure I ever read the book about Alice. I think I would like to read that. It's February. It's the time of love. I think it would be a lovely, lovely choice in my reading selections. Yes.
Yeah. And I remember when he came in, we had a little sign for him and snacks. We were so honored to have him in the studio at ABC Radio there in the Radio Disney building. So that was fun. And then the final segment, Julie, is my birthday is the 19th of February, and so it's a little birthday thing that you're not on this show, but Liz, Sheila, and Monica are. But I had completely forgotten this. Memory. I had a very special hero of mine do a birthday message for me, or our producer did, Courtney. Mm-hmm. And so we replay it every year on the show. And I had totally forgot about it until I heard this segment again. And it's figure skater Michelle Kwan.
I know.
So
love her. I
did. I love her. I still love her. And you know what she does now? Do you know what Michelle Kwan does now?
What's the update?
She is a U.S. ambassador to Belize.
Oh, I did know that.
Yeah.
So,
yes. So she's she works at the State Department. She's legit. She's not just a donor. For many years, she went to grad school, has worked in international relations, and so was appointed by the current administration to be the U.S. ambassador to Belize. So there you go. So she wished me a happy birthday. But I just wanted to explain why I'm not that super impressed, because it was 5 years in a row that we played this snippet, but it's still fun to hear. Still fun to hear.
okay. Well, is she coming back for this year? I don't know if you're going to make it through Valentine's Day again with the vortex, Ash Wednesday, Valentine's, Lunar New Year. But if you do, I wish you a very happy birthday, sister.
Thank you very much, Shirley. I'm going to be spending my birthday refinishing my floors in my house. So it's going to be nice. It's
what a present.
Such a present. I mean, you only do that once every couple of decades because it's so much work to move all the furniture out of your house.
Oh, yeah.
So that's what we'll be doing this upcoming weekend, and then celebrating my birthday with the refinishers showing up. So excited about that. All right. This is our Satellite Sisters remix. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks to you for supporting the sponsors. It does make it possible for us to continue to do these remixes and continue to host the show on our website and various platforms. We really appreciate all the downloads and all the listens still and always. Thanks. All right, Jewel, have a great week.
You too, Leanne.
And don't forget, call your satellite sister.
Well, there were a couple of wedding announcements in the Sunday Style section of the New York Times that I felt we must speak out against. Because I read the wedding announcements. I don't know those people, Liz. I'm never going to meet the people in the Sunday Style wedding announcement section. And yet I want to live vicariously through them for just a little bit. I had my wedding. There won't be any more. It's done. It's over. I've moved on. Okay? But I like to know that there are people out there falling in love and starting a new life. And they're doing it in a way that's romantic and winning and fun. And recently there have just been some heinous wedding announcements in the New York Times. Big full page, pictures and stuff of people who had, extramarital affairs. Clearly described in the wedding announcement.
They described the story of how they met and fell in love. Oh, by the way, they were both married to other people at the time. Oh, isn't that romantic?
No, it's not romantic.
We had to speak out against that, didn't we, Leah?
Yes, we did, Monica. So this week in the New York Times, I am happy to report there were sensational wedding announcements.
Oh, good.
Not a one includes an extramarital affair. No man is wearing a kilt. It's absolutely fantastic. So Monica and I both wanted to single out a couple of fantastic romantic stories. First of all, Lauren Dawson and Andrew Fortag. Congratulations. Good for you guys. Liz, they were both chefs in New York. One's a chef, one's a pastry chef. They worked at different restaurants.
Oh.
Now, here's what I love about Lauren and Andrew. They met when they were involved with other people, boyfriends and girlfriends. But Liz, they didn't do anything about it.
Oh.
Thank you very much, Lauren and Andrew.
And it specifies that in the wedding announcement?
It does. It said they were both involved with other people, but they enjoyed talking to each other at industry events and when they would see each other. And they just had this little spark, but nothing happened. Nothing happened, Lauren and Andrew. That's why you're being featured today.
Well, that's romantic, too, because they're two people that work killer schedule.
Right.
They said that was kind of what drew them together, that their first dates were at midnight after they had gotten off work, and they would go out to dinner or they would go home to one of their apartments and just sort of sit up and talk and watch movies. So they understood each other's lifestyle.
And you'll see in many of this week's wedding announcements, Liz, one date, all it took. And then that's it.
Really?
They were never separated. All right, Monica, which one
I
did you
imagine
like?
that would be a good wedding to attend to food-wise.
Okay.
As if you're
Yes,
the guest at the wedding, you'd enjoy that.
They did describe the menu, Liz, extensively in that announcement. Okay, Leanne, the one I loved, the darling couple, Catherine Wilson and Stephen May. They have never been married before. Neither has been engaged or married before. The bride is 56. She works in an executive search firm in Washington, D.C. The bridegroom is 75.
Really?
Okay. He's a writer. He writes about painting and sculpture. They said they are neighbors in a co-op apartment building in Washington, D.C. They began dating there 13 years ago. So for 13 years, they have gone up and down one flight of stairs to visit each other. That's all it said, visit.
Right.
Okay. Then finally, last November, Mr. May, 75, proposed to her. And she wondered what took him so long. And he said, I guess I asked myself that too. And he said, you have to wait until the chemistry seems right. And now it seems like a natural progression. It was just more fun to be together all the time than to commute up and down the stairs. So, and she said, it's never too late to make someone happy. 56, 73, 75 newlyweds.
Yeah,
I love
fantastic.
that.
See, another
That's
excellent
darling.
wedding.
That's the way you want them to be.
All right, Heather Frank, Todd Olson, congratulations to the two of you. Here's a couple with a bright financial future. She's a freelance violinist, and he's a Latin tutor. All right, good luck to you guys.
But they're young and they're in love.
They're young and they're in love. Fantastic. Also, here's a couple. Sterling Odom, that's the woman, and Jonathan Lankin. Okay, I love this. They're both triathletes. They met on a ski trip through mutual friends. But when he popped the question, she said, can I ask you a few questions first? Can we have a dog? That's what she said before she would agree to marry him. Can we have a dog? And then Monica the best.
Okay, just one more. Patricia Seglio and Bruce Johnson. He saw her at a pizza parlor. She was with her mother and her grandmother. He was with his 15-year-old daughter. Again, both divorced couples, okay? They're free and clear. He said to his daughter, look at that beautiful woman. He went up and he tapped her on the shoulder when she was in the parking lot, and he said, if you ever feel like getting together, call me. She never did. She was back in that area of New York a year later. She was walking in front of the pizza parlor. He saw her, and they have never been apart since.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
Met
on
and
that
fell
one.
in love.
Support for today's episode comes from our friend Jenny Kane. Well, we don't know Jenny, but we like to pretend we do because, Jenny Kane is a California brand through and through. They have unbelievably great staples that make getting dressed easier than it's ever been before. Liz, I aspire to minimalist and effortless, and Jenny Kane is helping me get there.
Yes.
Now, here's the new item that I'm obsessed with, and I don't use that word lightly, but I am obsessed with the Flynn cashmere sweater.
Oh, tell me more.
Here's the thing is, Jenny Kane has great cashmere, right? It's
Yes.
comfortable. You can truly live in them all year long. They are investment pieces that make a statement, totally worth it. Liz, this is just a perfect everyday V-neck.
Oh, I love a good V-neck.
I know you do, Liz. I know. I want you to head over to jennykane.com and check out this Flynn sweater because I think you're going to want to add it to your wardrobe.
Okay.
And they have some really great springy colors, oatmeals, a nice off-white, a nice light gray. And of course you can get black because that's always going to look chic too.
Always.
But we love the Jenny Kane products, and we love that Jenny Kane is a company owned by women and supports our Satellite Sisters podcast. So thanks to everybody at Jenny Kane. You can find your forever pieces at jennykane.com. Our listeners get 15% off your first order when you use the code SISTERS at checkout. That's 15% off your first order at jennykane.com. And Jenny Kane is JENNI. KAYNE.com. JennyKane.com, promo code SISTERS. Let getting dressed be one last thing to worry about. Liz and Leanne here, and we would like to thank OSEA for supporting Satellite Sisters and to thank you for supporting the sponsors that support us. Now, Liz, we love the products that come from OSEAMalibu.com. And I understand in 2024 that you have decided to prioritize personal body care routine, Liz. Is that correct?
I have, yes. I call it my Lotions and Potions initiative, Leanne. And I just have a lot of wonderful Osea Malibu products, particularly the Undaria body butter.
Yeah.
God, that stuff, especially at the beginning of the year, this time of year, it's awesome. So I'm just taking a little time for myself, Leanne, with my Osea Malibu Lotions and Potions. It's very satisfying.
I think the key with that Undaria algae body butter is that it has that special Undaria seaweed and those ceramides, and it really makes a difference. I don't use the word transform a lot in any way, shape, or form, but it does transform dry, crepey skin.
Yeah.
And it's smooth and supple, and the the smoothness and the suppleness, it lasts, Liz, because that body butter is so thick and rich and just delicious. So I'm glad that you're prioritizing your lotions and potions, Liz. Fun. And with exactly the right lotions and potions coming from OseaMalibu.com. It's clean, it's vegan, it's cruelty-free, climate neutral certified. This is a woman-owned business, and we're so happy to be associated with them. So if, like Liz, you want to start your new year fresh with clean, vegan skincare and body care, check out Osea. Right now, Satellite Sisters has a special discount for our listeners. You get 10% off your first order site-wide with code SATSisters at OseaMalibu.com. You'll get free samples with every order, woohoo, and free shipping on orders over $60. So head over to OseaMalibu.com and use code SATSisters. And Osea is OSEA. OseaMalibu.com, code SATSisters for 10% off. Thanks, Osea.
You know, we made a special effort for you today. We're very excited to have Calvin Trillin with us in the studio. He is, of course, a longtime staff writer for The New Yorker, a journalist, and an author of many fabulous, entertaining books. Your new book is about Alice. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you. Thank you. I noticed you all dressed up for the occasion, too.
Yeah, we did. Believe me.
Leanne put on lipstick for you.
Right.
Yeah, you missed that. Earlier I put on some lipstick.
I didn't because I'm in Colorado, so I figured on the webcam you can't really see what I look like.
All right. Now, About Alice is a love letter to your wife, who you lost 5 years ago, right? She was waiting for a heart transplant.
Right.
And when she died, one of the things you write about in the book is that there was this outpouring, because you had written about Alice so much in all of your work over many years. People felt like they knew her and they loved her almost as much as you did. Calvin, were you surprised at the level of outpouring when Alice's death was made public?
I was. I was surprised also that people didn't know her, and they always started these letters, although I didn't know her, of course, but they somehow knew how I felt about her, and that surprised me because she was really presented as a sort of persona in those writings about travel and family life and eating, and she was the sort of sitcom mom, the sensible person.
I mean, a persona, and yet your affection for her. I think that's what makes About Alice so lovely, too. But in all of your work, it was just clear that you two had something very special.
Well, nobody knows anything about anybody else's marriage, and so I didn't know that it was special. I appreciated it, but I suppose I thought that most people felt that way about their wives, and I was surprised. I say in the book that I had taken in most of the episodes of The Honeymooners without really contemplating how Ralph Cramden must have felt about Alice Cramden. So I was surprised that I got letters, particularly from young unmarried women, who said things like, I look at my boyfriend and wonder, but will he love me the way Calvin loves Alice?
See, this is it. This is Julie, and I think what comes through is your admiration for Alice, and that is such a nice quality.
Well, I think that there were many things about her that were admirable, and also that she was able to do that I wasn't. And
like what?
Well, I think she could articulate particularly values to our girls. And
you were not very good at that as the dad.
I was just saying,
what were you articulating?
I was saying, zip up your jacket. That's all. Right.
Wasn't a family motto, pull up your socks?
Pull up your socks, or the alternative was no kvetching. Right. It's pretty much the same thought. Yeah, that's right. The motto for my family that I grew up in was zip up your jacket.
Our family motto was rub it up. Yeah, that's what our parents used to say when any one of the 8 of us, say, broke something. Just rub it up.
Came in with bleeding, head wounds. Just rub it up.
Rub it up.
That's right. I remember when I think it was the Carter administration tried out a motto, a new foundation, and I said that we tried that as a motto, but some of my family had morbid fear of underpinnings. They were always thinking the sills were rotting or something like that. So new foundation sort of pictured some beady eye contractor standing outside of your house and saying, what you need here, I'm afraid, is a whole new foundation.
Calvin Trillin is with us today. His new book is about Alice. Did you and Alice always agree on how to raise your daughters? They're what, in their 20s now, your girls?
No, they're in their 30s.
In their 30s, okay.
Yeah, I think we, Alice, I think we didn't agree on what we were doing exactly. I wasn't sure that we had any policy at all, and Alice thought that our policy, if that's the word, was to be sort of loose on the small things and strict on the big things. Mm-hmm. And so, but it came out the same. I mean, we didn't disagree about, whether. I remember saying once to one of my daughters, she was about 10 or 11, I think it was Abigail, the older one, said, "Can I do something?" I can't remember what it was she wanted to do, and I said, "Well, it sounds all right to me, Ab, but we better ask Mom about it." And she said, "Is that because she's a fancy Eastern girl and you're just a simple lad from the Midwest?" And she'd been listening all this time. I said, "Yeah, that's sort of it. Yeah, you caught on. Yeah."
My husband uses that line on me. I'm the fancy Eastern girl, and he's just a Californian. So in any matters of etiquette or something, he turns to me.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. The Eastern people know which fork to...
Exactly. Right, exactly. We just know how to do things a little bit, better.
Right.
So you did. You wrote about Alice a lot, and as you say, she was sort of the sitcom mom in your work. But did she ever come to you and say, "Oh, come on, could you just not, that's not really me"? Did you want a fuller portrait of herself in your work?
She never said so. And occasionally I write, like I did a column once about how convenient it was to live with an intellectual, in the sense that if some word like heuristics came up on some emergency exit card on the plane, you had somebody to tell you what it meant, something like that. And she occasionally said, I remember when the first time I was going to use her name in a title, which was not coincidentally just after she was operated on for lung cancer in 1976, and it was a book called Alice, Let's Eat, and she said, "I'm not sure about how I feel about having my name in a title of a book." And I said, "Well, okay, we could call it Carol Let's Eat or Nancy Let's Eat." And said, "Well, I think Alice is okay." But, and then sometimes we would, how married people talk, and after the kids have gone up either to go do their homework or go to bed or something, depending on how old they are, and you're sharing thoughts at the dinner table. And then occasionally Alice would say something, and I would say, I hope you don't think that what you just said was off the record.
Uh-oh. She was going to use it against you in some way?
Yeah, no, that I would write about it.
Oh.
But I didn't really write about that sort of
Did
thing.
she review all of everything that you wrote?
Yes, she was the first reader. She, not just for me, but often Alice worked at a publisher for a year before she started teaching, and then she taught English, and she taught the writing process and did films on the writing process, and was often asked by friends to read manuscripts, and including a friend who had written a 1,600-page novel.
Oh my!
She suggested some cuts on that.
Just right off the top before she even cracked it open.
Right. And so I say in the book that she read all rough drafts, and partly because I valued her opinion, and partly because I was trying to impress her.
Yeah.
I was hoping if it was meant to be funny that I would hear her laugh.
And that seems to have driven you your whole life. You just always wanted to make your wife laugh. That's a very nice way to go through life. Yeah,
unfortunately, she used to say to me, maybe after you've been married 30 years or so, "You've never been as funny as you were on the night we met." Oh. And I would say,
"Way to go, Alice. Nice line."
"You mean I peaked in December of 1963? And she said, "I'm afraid so."
Calvin Trillin's book about his wife is about Alice. Do you think of yourself as a romantic guy? Because you're such a regular guy, Calvin Trillin.
Absolutely not.
And yet the book, as you say, when Alice died, you got this outpouring, I'm not surprised, from single women all over the world saying, "Oh, we just loved reading about your love for your wife."
No, I mentioned on a show a couple of weeks ago that the first time I read something like it's good to have a sensitive man who's in touch with his feelings, my instant reaction was, my God, I hope none of the guys I went to high school with read this. I mean, I've been taking some pains not to be in touch with my feelings for years. So, yeah, that was quite surprising to me.
Because it's Julie, you were saying it's romance, but not in a mushy way.
It's not mushy. It's not lovey-dovey. That's why that makes it even more romantic.
Oh, well, see, I didn't know that all these years.
Yeah, I don't know. That's
really
the key
impressed
right
Alice.
there.
Julie, I wish you'd have called my house occasionally and let everybody know that.
You know, you've written a lot about your children, obviously a lot about Alice. You've written about your own life. You've written about your father. So the writing the family memoir, the sort of mining your own family for your stories and for entertainment for others. Have you ever gotten into trouble with that? Or did you ever worry that, okay, maybe now this is too far, I shouldn't do that?
No, I when I looked back, I did a book called Family Man, and I looked back on what I had written about the girls, for instance, and I realized that without thinking about it, I had quit writing about them when they got to be about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And I just didn't mention them anymore. And
That was wise.
I didn't, have a meeting with Alice and decide that teenage girls really don't need their father making wry remarks about them in print, but it's just instinctive. I think you're not doing it, and I don't think you could even tell the girls apart. And what I wrote about them, and so I don't think that somebody asked me once if I was worried about the girls writing about me.
Oh, yeah.
And I said no, I'm not worried about it at all, because when they were 5 and 8. I had them sign a non-disclosure agreement. Nothing complicated. I think it was the one they use in Buckingham Palace for servants. I just said, just sign where Daddy says to sign. The little one couldn't write, but I said, just make a sign.
Just an X here.
Right.
A little smiley face right there on the sheet. Thank you. Well, we, the 5 sisters, wrote a memoir together, and but before it was published, Julie, we put her in charge of being the delegation of one that had to present the manuscript to our parents. Right, Julie?
Right. We took 2 copies of the draft up to our parents, one for our mother, one for our father, right. And they each went up to their bedroom with their copies, and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs. And
these other cowards weren't even in the house.
No, we were. There was no. Julie is the nicest. So
I was the diplomatic sister. So, but I did hear my mother say to my father, she said, "I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm coming out okay in the book."
You'll have to worry about yourself, Jim.
That was it. Yeah.
You're over the side, Jim.
Oh, hey, I did want to ask you for something, a little bit of a performance, if you don't mind. Okay. I was talking on the air a couple weeks ago about how this year, 2007, is the year I turn 50, which I kind of can't believe, but whatever. So I'm trying to get myself ready for it. Anything that is going to sort of bring that day in a good way, a sort of uplifting note on that day. And Joyce wrote to us. She's from Minneapolis. She recently sent in an email saying, one of my younger sisters is having her 50th birthday in March, and I'm looking for celebration ideas. Well, in your book about Alice, you have the most delightful poem that you wrote for Alice on her 50th birthday. So I thought maybe we could just close with a little bit of that.
Sure. This is the first stanza of a poem that's called A Conversation with Someone Who Can't Believe That Alice is 50. No way, you say, it simply cannot be. I would have guessed that barmen often ask her for ID. I know. She has that youthful glow that still gives young men vapors. She's 50, though. I've seen her papers.
Hey, Liz, I want to tell you a funny story that happened to me the other day on a Zoom call. True story. And it involves Pros, because, we love our maid.
We love Pros. Shampoo, conditioner, the whole product line. We love it.
I'm on a Zoom with a bunch of women of a certain age, women my age, Liz, our age. That's where I'm on a room. And I got to say, my hair looks great, Liz.
Yeah.
And we're halfway through the meeting, and one of them stops and says, you know what? I just want to say your hair looks great. Like, what are you using? And then we got into a whole discussion about my Pros routine.
Really?
explained like, well, I have this great custom made hair care and I take the Pros hair vitamins. So first I had to take the Pros quiz. It's an in-depth quiz, but it's fun to take where they ask you all these questions. And then they said they make recommendations, and then I take the vitamins, and it's my whole Pros hair care routine. And they're so excited. They start to like look up Pros while we're on the meeting.
That's the way to do it.
It's slightly unprofessional, Liz, but I appreciate their enthusiasm. So I'm like, no, wait. No, we have a code. You got it. You have to use the Satellite Sisters code. You have to tell them you heard about Pros on Satellite Sisters. And I said, and don't be intimidated by the quiz. You're going to enjoy it. So Satellite Sisters, that's all I want.
Doing the job, Liam. That's great.
Just one Pros customer at a time, Liz. That's my goal. But again, thanks to Pros, because I really do feel like the vitamins and the whole Pros routine, all the hair care has made a giant difference in my hair, and people notice. Okay. If you want people to notice, here's what you do. Custom made to order hair care from Pros has your name all over it. Take your free in-depth hair consultation and get 50% off your first subscription order today, plus 15% off and free shipping every subscription order after that. That's a great deal.
That's a good one.
Right?
Yes.
That's 50% off your first subscription order, plus 15% off and free shipping every subscription order after that. You want to go to pros.com/sisters, and Pros is PROSE. Pros.com/sisters for your free in-depth hair consultation and 50% off your first subscription order. Thanks, Pros. A big thanks to ButcherBox for supporting Satellite Sisters. Liz and Leanne here. We are regular customers of ButcherBox because we love getting incredible deals on premium cuts from ButcherBox. We get our peace of mind because we know we're going to get high quality meat and seafood that we can trust. It's going to be delivered right to our doorstep with free shipping. And Liz, you get to curate those boxes. You customize those box plans. Have you changed up your plan this year?
This morning, Leanne, having nothing to do with the fact that we're reading this ad, I got the email reminder from ButcherBox that they're going to put my box together in a few days. So if I had any changes to make, now is the time. I love that about this subscription service because they remind you like, okay, make your decisions. And I was feeling a little boneless pork chop, and I was feeling like it's not normally in my box, but it's sort of a boneless pork chop time of year for me. So I swapped out the scallops that I usually get and put in some boneless pork chops, and boom, when my box arrives next week, that's going to be delightful.
Liz, you're becoming a master meal prepper because meal prepping is all the rage now, Liz. You're doing it with your ButcherBox. That is the key to becoming a master meal prepper. Stay stocked up on essentials. ButcherBox is here to help you do just that. They are offering Satellite Sisters listeners their choice of a weeknight meal must-have: 3 pounds of chicken thighs, 2 pounds of ground beef, or 1 pound of premium steak tips for free in every order for a whole year. That's an awesome deal. Plus $20 off your first order. That's right. You get a weeknight meal must-have for free in every order for a whole year, plus $20 off. Sign up today at butcherbox.com/sisters and use code SISTERS to choose your free offer and get $20 off. butcherbox.com/sisters, code SISTERS.
We're the Satellite Sisters. I'm Liz. I'm here with Leanne and Julie.
Well, Liz, we just heard that Calvin Trillin said he spent his entire marriage trying to impress his wife.
Yes.
Well, yesterday, Sheila and I reviewed a wedding announcement from the New York Times, the most heinous wedding announcement ever, where the man seems to be spending his entire life trying to impress himself. Oh, and that's all I can say.
And it's working?
Yes. We like to do a little Monday morning quarterbacking on the New York Times wedding section here at Satellite Sisters, particularly Sheila and I. And our red flag went up when we saw a man in a kilt, featured. Yeah. That always, you just wonder, is he a Highlander? Is that why he's in the kilt getup, or what's happening? And then we went to read the announcement fully. Okay, John Warner IV got married to a lovely young first grade teacher named Sharon Ham. Okay, John Warner is the son of Senator Warner. He's 44, Liz. And in this wedding announcement, there was one heinous quote after another from the mouth of John Warner IV. Things like, every woman I've ever dated in New York and L.A. are gold diggers. They're just after me for my money.
Ew. Of course, he only dated supermodels, Liz.
Right, supermodels and socialites. So every woman, he said when he met Miss Ham, he was surprised he had, quote, anything in common with the first grade teacher. But then, fortunately, and I quote again, she came from wealth. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank God.
This is the anti-Calvin, for sure.
Well, we encouraged you to go to the New York Times for yourself and read the most heinous wedding announcement ever, and Harold Nass did. Thank you, Harold. You sent us some sister mail, and you pointed out a couple of passages that we didn't have time to get to, but I'll quickly get to them now.
More hainosity?
Yes. One that Harold liked in particular, apparently the bridegroom, whose back was still hurt from a recent motorcycle crash, greeted his guests a la Truman Capote, while lounging in a kilt on one of the white leather couches.
He was just laying down as people came in?
Yes, because he was a motorcycle rider, Liz, and a race car driver, as well as being the hellmaster of his frat. So I guess that's
such an excellent credential in a husband. Former hellmaster.
Yes, and then there you go. And then one other passage that Harold wanted to point out in his sister mail was that he indeed put Elizabeth Taylor, Senator Warner's second wife, on the back of his miniature motorized mini bike.
Ew.
So there you go.
Ew.
Harold, you're with us. Harold, you said could not have been any more sickening or disgusting. Thank you. Always welcoming sister mail that agrees with us 100%.
We are the Satellite Sisters, and this is Entertaining Sheila. And this week, it's only one movie, Sex and the City. That's right. It's a movie. It's a happening. It's The Girls. Now, when I first saw the initials SATC, I had no idea what people were writing about. I thought it was just some cryptic, initials referring to some cultural movement I had totally missed. I felt like it was the first time. Do you remember the first time I pronounced the word felon on the air? I pronounced it felon.
Right. Like it was a French word.
Sometimes I just look at things.
Like biopic?
Yes.
When you said that?
Right.
Or
like,
biopic?
It's like, what's sacked? What is sacked? Well, I guess it kind of gives it away that I'm not a hardcore Sacked fan. I felt like I could have been if I had more time. If
cable. If you had cable. You didn't have cable.
That's right. If I just had HBO. I mean, there were so many reasons why I was not a weekly Sex in the City viewer. But after what has it been, 10 or so more years of reruns, staying in hotels, I have the basics down. And I did learn to love the small screen cuteness of the girls' lives. I identify with each of the women in some small way. That's right. And I resent each of them in another small way. But basically, it boils down to apartment envy. Oh my gosh, even Carrie's cramped pad was twice as big as any apartment I ever rented.
That's for
and
sure.
At least she had rooms. Do you know what I mean? So here we have it again. We have Carrie, we have Samantha, we have Miranda, and we have Charlotte. We have SJ, we have KC, CN, and KD. It's 3 years later from the last episode of Sex and the City, and the women, they're living in Manhattan, they're living in Brooklyn. 2 women are married, 1 is adopted, and 1 is serious intimacy issues. Yes, there's the same voiceover by Sarah Jessica, the same outrageous fashions by Patricia Field, and New York is a major, major character. And of course, who would forget Chris Noth, who really, seriously needed some Crest White strips. What has he been doing?
Really?
His teeth really needed some whitening. Of course, we know him as Big. So what was different? What was different, people? What's new? I guess what was once the quirky, girly label obsession that was Sex and the City seemed to me like a big commercial photo shoot on the big screen. Even there was a fake photo shoot in the middle of the movie for Vogue. It felt to me like it was a real photo shoot. I was confused. Did Sarah Jessica Parker actually, do a Vogue cover shoot for the month-long publicity blitz for this movie?
She did. She's on the cover of Vogue this month.
Okay, well, there you go, Liam. I was confused. You know what I mean? To me, that intimate sex talk, which was so great and dishy on the original TV show, just seemed forced on the big. And there wasn't enough of it, by the way. the threads of their...
Well, they're married now.
Well, I don't know. The threads of their separate lives that were all entwined on the small screen were sort of loose and jangly in this movie, and sometimes melodramatic and sometimes just bland. There was one new character in the movie, Jennifer Hudson, who was hired as Carrie's assistant. Now, she's a great actress. I enjoy watching her. She's very entertaining, but she only interacted with Carrie. That was the only person she interacted with in the movie, and that just seemed like a throwaway to me, Leanne. Now, the humor fell completely flat in my theater. There were absolutely no laughs. And I know that it was blowing people away in New York, but I went to the 3:40 show at the Man in Santa Monica. That's an odd time for a movie, people.
It is.
I mean,
Make it 4:30 or 3 o'clock.
It's a low energy time.
I think it was just, yes. I mean, I don't think that was the optimum crowd. But my daughter Ruth did see it twice in New York, and she loved it. And while Carrie's search for love was a backdrop, and all of her blogging was just a nice button at the end of each snappy half-hour episode, her 2.5 hours of playing housewife with Big, buying penthouses, buying clothes, more shoes, more, me. Who would spend that much time thinking about herself and her search for the one? I don't know. I mean, who would do that? Who would blog? Who would shoot video? Who would just self-obsess about her look for love? I just don't know. I just don't know what kind of woman would do that in
when
real
you put
life.
it that way, Sheila.
Now, sisters, let's do something fun right now. Let's pretend we're all in Sex in the City and we're at a little restaurant having Cosmos, and we're going to go around the horn to see who thought what of the movie. Liz, like you saw the movie. Let's. It's your turn, Liz. Why don't you talk on the topic?
I saw a noon show, Sheila. People were laughing. There were a lot of people in the theater, mainly women, as you can imagine. I enjoyed it. I had some laugh out loud moments. I liked seeing the girls' lives move forward. There were some surprises. Some of it was very predictable. But I agree with you that what is cute in half an hour with all the label obsessions gets really tedious in 2.5 hours. The constant clothes and bags and shoes thing. I was a little bit tired of that. But I enjoyed it, and I hope there's a sequel, and I'm going back.
Okay, we'll have another sip of your Cosmo. How about you, Monica? Well, let's go around the horn. What did you think?
I have a lot of affection for the characters on the show. And so even though they were not like me in any way, rich, they had shoes, they wore stilettos, and they were having sex, I still have a lot of affection for them. But in the movie, I related to their tenderness towards each other.
Yeah.
I thought that still came through. I thought the movie had its moments, but you're right, it was not as snappy or as funny as the 30-minute episodes. A lot of the jokes fell flat. There were some funny moments, though. Come on, Samantha with the sushi.
That was funny.
Okay, well, she saved the movie, by the way. Kim Cattrall saved the movie, and we're going to get to that.
Yeah, she was the funniest thing in the movie. So I felt tender towards the movie.
All right.
I thought their friendship still came through.
And, Leanne, you have not seen it.
No, but I'm just glad you called the character Big instead of Mr. Big, like all the idiots writing about it.
That annoys me, too.
Who would call him that?
It's not his name. I mean, even in like real newspapers, Mr. Big. His name is not Mr. Big. His name is Big.
Oh, you're getting all worked up. Take a sip of your Cosmos.
Anything you want to say about his teeth? No.
I thought Big looked excellent.
I thought he looked excellent, too.
He's a real man,
Well,
Big.
speaking of Big, I saw the Big Cheese on a plane from LAX to New York. Yes, that's right. I saw Michael Patrick King, the writer and director, getting on a plane. Check this out. By special escort, he was escorted onto the plane to first class. Now, I ask people, you're in first class. Do you need to go 10 minutes early than everybody else? You're going in early anyway.
Right.
I mean, you got your big seat in the front of the plane anyway. But I did have a little sighting on my way to New York while he was going to the premiere for that weekend.
So you were on the same plane?
I was on the same plane. I feel like I'm connected. I don't know what he would think of this review, so let's get to it. On a scale of 1 to 5 sisters. I'm giving 1 big sister to Kim Cattrall. Her character was the most entertaining. It was the most interesting. And we heard from a secret source in New York that she is the nicest one out of all the girls, didn't we? Mm-hmm. Yes, we did. All right. I'm also going to give another sister to the young man who was brave enough to come to the movie in my 3:40 showing at the Mann Theater. That's right. 2 sisters so far, and I have to give a sister to New York City, my old hometown, my own stomping ground. Now, I tell you, I did have a little kick in my step when I left the theater. With my long new pink scarf, I was pretending I was a little bit of Carrie. And that's what I do every night when I go home to my Apple computer. I channel Carrie just a little bit. I try to put a button on my life, and the button here is this. This has been Entertaining Sheila. Go forth and entertain.
Okay.
I'm with Monica. I thought it was tender and fond and cute and fun. And you kind of have to go into something like that. It's not going to change the world.
Right.
It's
and
just a fun movie about women who are satellite sisters.
If you like the series, you'll enjoy the movie. Afterwards, I went to a Whole Foods and got lunch, and this woman saw my movie ticket. She said, "What'd you see?" I said, "Sex and the City." She said, "How was it?" I said, "It was pretty good." I said, "I liked the series, so I liked it." And she said she went into this long diatribe about how she hasn't watched TV in 10 years. She threw it away. It's too materialistic.
Oh, for God's sakes, do not see this movie.
Yeah. That's exactly what I said to her. I said, "You know what? You won't like this movie. do not go see this movie." But I liked it.
The scene when Carrie is beating Big over the head.
Hello.
Okay. No, I wasn't going to give away to it. There are just some very funny moments. All right, speaking of you and Carrie and how much
self-obsession,
Sheila, how much you have in common with some of the ladies of Sex and the City, you're going to have a big announcement for us on the Monday show about Sheila and sex and cities and whatever.
Oh, yes, I am, Liz. Yes, it does involve my search for love. It does involve a city, right, Leanne?
Yes, Sheila.
I don't know. It may involve some kind of sexual connotations, as it were. And it's all about me. It is one of my dreams come true, actually. And I'm so excited about it. There's going to be a big announcement on Monday's show about what I'm doing this summer, right, Leanne?
The Sheila spinoff we've been waiting for.
She's always wanted one since the very first meeting we ever had about Satellite Sisters. I kid you not. She said she really wanted her own show. She was a first grade teacher in New York who had recently left her husband at the time. But she thought she deserved her own show. And now she's entertaining Sheila, and she's getting her own project.
That's right. I may not be escorted on first class 10 minutes before everybody else, but I got my own project, Leanne, and I'm darn proud of it.
All right.
But Leanne, it is your birthday. Happy birthday, Leanne.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Leanne, happy birthday, Leanne.
Thank you, Monica.
Monica, you and I, we were just talking about this last week. I forget how it came up, but we can both remember. We're older than you enough to remember the exact day you were born. Right, Monica?
Yeah, we remember the exact day because Mom, Sheila and I were playing in the basement. We were sitting on the basement steps, and Mom came and she said, "I'm going now." And we're like, "Oh, where are you going?" And she goes, "Well, I'm going to the hospital to have a baby." And we're like, "Okay, see you later." We didn't even know Mom was going to have another baby. I mean, maybe she told us, but we were just in our own little Barbie doll world, and it didn't really dawn on us.
Yeah, you were 6 and 7.
Right, and then you came home from the hospital. Mom's like, we're like, "Okay, have a good time at the hospital." Whatever that is. We didn't even know what she was talking about. So I asked Mom this weekend, because you were wondering last week when we were talking with Shelley Ackerman what time of day you were born.
Yes.
And so I asked Mom and Dad, "Do you remember when Leanne was born? Was it at 9 in the morning? Was it?" Liz was thinking it was more like 1 or 2 or 3 o'clock. Well, they had no idea.
No idea.
So I'm just telling you, they went back through the 7 previous births and recalling various times of day when various children were born, and Mom really couldn't remember. She said she was very, very tired, though, because when she went to the hospital, she did tell me that she fell asleep and the obstetrician fell asleep. But Dad was the only one who stayed awake. But, of course, he was in the lobby,
Smoking
cigarettes in the old days and drinking coffee. So they have no idea what time of day you were born.
But we have narrowed it down to late morning or early afternoon because we saw Mom leave the premises.
Two good choices, Liz.
We saw Mom leave the premises before school. And then I remember we were in the yard playing after school when someone came out and said, your mom just had a baby girl. So that was like 3 p.m. So there you go. There's your window.
It's close enough. I haven't given birth myself. The time of day does not matter to you.
Unless you're an astrologer.
Right, or I guess, right. But if you're a mother, it doesn't, you're in there for so long, sometimes it feels like you don't even know what day it is, never mind what time of the day it is. So I don't know, I'm perfectly fine with not knowing what time of day I was born.
Well, we do have one of your favorites. This is a Satellite Sisters Leanne's birthday classic who just wanted to say a few nice words. One of your heroes in life, Leanne.
Hi, Leanne. This is Michelle Kwan. I understand it's your birthday this week, so I just wanted to call and wish you the best of birthdays.
Michelle Kwan, she calls every year.
She does call every year. Thanks, Michelle. Love you, Michelle.
Hi, Leanne.
Hi, Michelle.
Our special celebrity birthday wishes, Leanne.
That's right.
Hey, it's Liz with a reminder that, it's really easy to stay in touch with the Satellite Sisterhood on many platforms.
That's right, Liz. For starters, we have a website, satellitesisters.com, where you can listen to all the podcasts. You also can read our blog posts, which include show notes. And if you want, you can snoop around in our bios and pictures.
On Facebook, we have a couple of options. The first is our Facebook page, where we post our news and all of our news shows. You just have to like that page so you get our posts in your feed.
And the second option is the Facebook group, aka the nicest place on the internet. That's where you can post yourself and interact with everyone in the group. You can share, you can comment, or you can just enjoy the vibe. And that page is private, so things posted in the Satellite Sisters Facebook group cannot be shared outside of the group. To join, you simply search on Satellite Sisters Facebook group and then click to join or follow. You'll get 1 or 2 really easy questions to answer. That's just so we can make sure you're a real person and not a bot, and then we approve you. Done.
We're also on Instagram, of course. You can follow @SatSisters. You'll see our posts there and get alerted to when we go live. And we're trying to go live more. In fact, we've been pretty regular on Fridays lately with a follow-up Friday. Individually, you can also follow us @Leanne Dolan, @Satellite Sister Liz, or @Julie Oldest Sister.
And finally, don't sleep on good old email. Yes, that's right. We have a show email address. If you want to write to us, it's just hello@satellitesisters.com. We really do read everything sooner or later. So come on, Satellite Sisters, stay connected.